In the base game box, you will find 4 starting tiles, including the Avel Castle tile, where you start the game. The moon track with astrolabe marker, 11 map tiles with the same bag that we use to make a game map, 3 crater tokens with 3 different difficulty levels, a total of 30 monster tokens, including 24 small ones, 8 in each of 3 colors, and 6 big monster tokens, 2 in each of 3 colors, 27 coin tokens that create coin pile, and 10 damage markers that we use to mark monster wounds. 3 trap tokens with cost 3, 5 and 7 coins each. In the box you will also find 3 wall markers which can be built on the 3 spaces on the castle tile. We also have 3 moon seal tokens that are used to cover monster lairs. A total of 13 dice, 8 of which are colorful hero dice, as well as 2 black and 3 purple monster dice. The beast figure and its toughness dial. There is also an equipment bag where you place 25 equipment tokens. Helmets, weapons, and shields are all double-sided, and elixirs, which are single-sided. Additionally, there is the rulebook which takes you through the rules of the game, a player aid with different board tile setup configurations, a double-sided constellation map that you may use to pick a name for your hero, and an almanac where you'll find the history and bestiary of Avel. That's not all. We also have 4 character boards, 1 for each player. You'll put your equipment here in the backpack by placing tokens. There are 20 wooden toughness markers available, 5 for each player. Each player will also get 3 used equipment markers. There are 12 in total. The first player receives the Avel coat of arms. 1 character pawn, there are 4 total. And in the solo variant, 4 action tokens. Welcome to Avel. Here is the castle, where you start and begin your adventure. The castle tile is one of 4 starting tiles. They all have a castle on the back. Place it face up above the moon track board. This track sets the number of rounds left until the black moon rises. Place the astrolabe token on the track. You'll move it at the end of each round. Place it on the first space of the track when you play a solo or 2-player game. Place it on the 3rd space in a 3- or 4-player game. When the astrolabe token reaches the end of the track, the beast appears. But I'll talk about it a bit later. Also, further in the video, I'll explain the meaning of symbols that you can see on the moon track. Now let's prepare the rest of the map for the game. Add the 3 remaining starting tiles next to each of the borders of the castle starting tile. Place each of those tiles face up in a configuration you'll see in a moment. If, among others, the marketplace tile is here, when performing a tile action, you will be able to buy or sell equipment. I'll show you exactly how to do it later in the video. The next tile, showing the mushroom forest, is a location just outside Avel Castle. Here you can see 2 monster lair symbols. Whenever you reveal a tile with a monster lair symbol, place a random monster token on top of it in the correct size. In the Chronicles of Avel, there are 2 types of monsters, small and big. You have to make sure to match the correct size of token with the lair symbol on the tile. There are 3 types of monsters in the game: green, blue, and brown. This applies to both small and big monsters. You can see the monster color on the side of the token. The bottom of each of the monster tokens shows which dice the monster will use when defending itself from your attack. The heart symbol shows its toughness level, which is how many wounds are needed to defeat it. Above is the reward that the player will receive after defeating it. This monster will let you take 1 equipment token from the bag and 2 coins from the pile. The rules for the symbols on the big monster tokens are identical, but those opponents are more difficult with more health and each have some negative effect marked at the top of the token. For example, this monster blocks the player from using their shield effects. Let's continue setting up the map. The remaining tiles will let us make a map that the heroes will soon explore. The player aid contains 8 different map configurations. However, you may make your own unique tile configurations. Before you set up the map, make sure to find the tiles marked with 2+, 3+, and 4 for a 2, 3, and a 4-player game. You will add them to the map depending on the number of players. So in a 2-player game, you add the tile with the 2+ symbol. In a 3-player game, add the 2+ and 3+ tiles. And when playing with 4 people, add all 3 tiles to the remaining map tiles. You'll use them to make your board game. I'll prepare a basic setup. This is a version for a solo game. In a 2-player game, add the additional tile in the spot indicated in the configuration. You will do the same for a 3-player game by adding another tile to the map. If you play with 4 people, you should add 1 more tile to your map. When making a map, always use all of the terrain tiles. In all of the map configurations, there is always 1 tile that's designated for the crater token. That's where you place the face-down crater token. There are 3 types of crater tokens in the game: easy, moderate, and difficult. They decide the difficulty level of the final battle with the beast. The token chosen by the players is placed on the map on the tile designated for the crater. When the astrolabe marker reaches the last space on the moon track, the beast will rise from the crater. But more on this later. If you're playing with the Adventurers Toolkit expansion, you will have 3 new map tiles. There is the Dwarven Workshop, where you may buy ballistae that will be helpful when fighting enemies. Next is the Flea Market that will let you exchange your equipment. And the third location are fields and forests with a big monster lair. When you defeat it, you may use this tile action to get 3 coins. All 3 expansion tiles have the same back as the base game, and we add them face down to expand our exploration maps. Next, place the small and big monsters in face-down stacks next to the board. They need to be within easy reach of all players. Also, within easy reach, place a pile of coins and damage markers that you will deal to the monsters. Next to the board, there should be also 3 trap tokens that you will be able to set up after finding the Elven Camp tile. Near them, place the 3 Moon Seal tokens, which are used at the Stone Circle style, and the 3 wall markers that you'll be able to build and place at the starting castle tile using the Quarry tile action. You'll also need the dice next to the board. 8 dice used by the heroes and 5 monster dice. Near the crater, place the beast and its toughness dial, then set the dial to its starting life total according to the number of players. Set it to 14 if you're playing a 2-player game. If you start a 3-player game, set its life value to 17, and in a 4-player game, to 20. Put the equipment and elixir tokens in the bag. There will be 25 different equipment tokens, such as helmets, shields, weapons, and elixirs. You'll use them to equip your hero. During your adventure, you'll often draw a token from the bag and then place it on your character or in the backpack. If you're using the Adventurers Toolkit expansion, you will get 3 double-sided shoe equipment tokens and 3 new types of elixirs that you will add to the bag. It's time to prepare your hero. Each player takes a character board. Remove the top part and take a page from the booklet with character drawings. You may freely decorate this page and name your character. If you don't know how to name your hero, you can use the constellation map. Roll a die and pick a name. Place the character page in the board and cover it with the top part of the board. On the left side of the board is a space for 5 heart-shaped markers. Place them all in the holes in the board. They symbolize your character's toughness. Every time your hero receives a wound, remove the appropriate number of hearts. On the right of the board is your backpack. Its space is limited by the indent in the board. At the beginning of the game, each player places 1 coin in the backpack. Additionally, draw 1 equipment token from the previously prepared bag. Use it to equip your character by placing it in an appropriate spot, just like I'm doing with the shield token. Every time you take an equipment token from the bag, place it basic side up, showing the brown side. You'll flip it after upgrading. If you drew an elixir, place it in the backpack. The equipment tokens are double-sided. The side with the brown background is its basic side. The other side with the background aura is the upgraded side. You may use it after upgrading this equipment. I'll describe that a little later. Each player then gets a character pawn according to their board color. The chosen first player takes the Avel coat of arms token. As a part of their setup, all players receive 3 used equipment markers that will mark that you already used the ability of your equipment. In order to begin the game, place your character pawn on the castle starting tile. This is the tile where your heroes will begin exploring the kingdom and defeating enemies. The game consists of rounds, where each player has turns. The player with the coat of arms token starts the round, then the others take their turns in clockwise order. When the last player takes their turn, the round ends, which is marked by moving the astrolabe marker on the moon track. During a turn, a player may perform 2 out of 4 available actions. They can do the same action twice. For example, you might only use movement, which is just moving the hero pawn on the adjacent tile in any direction. If, as their action, a player wanted to explore a previously undiscovered part of a map, they flip over the tile they want to go to and then move their hero pawn to that tile. During their movement action, if a player reveals a tile with a monster lair symbol, they take a monster token of the corresponding size and place it on the revealed tile and then move their hero pawn to that tile. If a player is on a tile with a shortcut symbol, and there is another tile with the same symbol on the map, then those 2 tiles are considered adjacent. So when performing a movement, a hero may move from one tile to the other as if they were next to each other. If at any point of the game players are on the same tile and there is no monster, they may exchange their equipment. This exchange is not considered an action, and the players may do this before performing actions on their turn. Therefore, one hero may exchange equipment or coins with another hero before they perform actions on their turn. Now let's move to the next action, battle. How do you resolve battles? The player on the left of the attacking player takes on the role of the monster for a bit and takes their dice. In this example, it's 2 black and 2 purple dice. This monster only requires 1 wound to be defeated, which will award the hero an equipment token drawn from the bag. The attacking player prepares for battle. At the beginning of the battle, they take 2 basic green dice. As the game progresses, you'll get more equipment or elixirs for your hero, which will allow you to take more dice. Now the player performs the first roll out of 3 available during a battle and then checks the results. Each sword symbol may wound the enemy. My hero is using a special shield ability. I mark it by placing a used equipment marker on the shield. The ability with an arrow allows a reroll and can only be used once per battle. In this case, the player may reroll 1 green die. After this reroll, the player manages to get an additional sword symbol, so an attack. Now the player that is controlling the monster rolls their dice. Players may do these rolls simultaneously and then compare the results. The hero rolled 2 sword symbols in this attack. Meanwhile, the monster got 1 defense symbol, which lets it ignore one of the attack effects of the hero dice. Additionally, it has 2 attack symbols on its dice, which means 2 wounds for the hero. However, 1 attack is enough for the player to defeat this monster because its health value is 1. Remove the enemy token from the board and take the reward. During this battle action, the hero received 2 wounds from the monster, so they remove 2 toughness markers from their board. As a reward for defeating this monster, they draw 1 equipment token from the bag. In this case, it's a helmet. They place it basic side up in the corresponding space on their character board. After finishing the battle, clean up the used equipment markers, allowing this character's equipment to be used in another battle with a monster. Now I'll show you a battle with a slightly more difficult monster with 3 health. The monster has 2 black dice and 1 purple die. The player on the left of the attacking player rolls the dice and will compare the results with hero's roll. The hero also prepares for battle. They use their ability and add 2 basic green dice and use a permanent effect of their upgraded weapon, so they add 1 orange die from the supply. They may use it during the whole battle action, so all 3 attacks. This is not marked with the used equipment marker. The player rolls 3 attack symbols. Let's compare the results. 3 attacks on the hero dice would let them defeat the monster because it has exactly 3 points of health. However, the monster has 1 defense on its dice, which lets it ignore one of the attacks. Therefore, this monster receives 2 wounds now, which we mark with damage markers. This battle will have a second clash that we'll go over in a moment during the same battle action. Note that the basic helmet ability allows the hero to reroll 1 purple and 1 black die of a brown monster. This monster is brown, so the hero uses this ability and marks it with the used equipment marker. They can perform the reroll 1 time during whole battle action. They reroll the monster die with the attack symbol and receive a no-effect side, so the hero won't get a wound. We move to another clash. The hero once again rolls 3 dice because their permanent weapon ability gives them an orange die for the whole battle. At the same time, the enemy player rolls their dice and you compare the second clash results. This way, you manage to wound the monster for the 3rd time, which is enough to defeat it because the enemy doesn't have any defense symbols. The monster rolled 3 attacks in the second clash. The hero has 2 defense symbols on their dice, so their toughness is reduced by 1. The player marks that by removing 1 toughness token from their character board. After resolving the battle, remove all used equipment markers. As a reward for defeating this monster, the player may upgrade 1 equipment that their character has. Upgrading means flipping a chosen equipment token from its basic to upgraded side, the side with the blue background. From now on, the player may use the upgraded ability of their equipment. In this example, the hero will be able to permanently add 1 blue die in a battle, and once in a battle, reroll a purple and a black die against a brown monster. Let's see what a battle with a big monster looks like. This one has 2 purple dice and 1 black die. It needs 4 wounds to become defeated. However, this monster blocks the player from using their weapon effects. As always, the hero prepares their attack dice by taking 2 basic green dice. Unfortunately, the monster effect makes it impossible to use the permanent ability of their weapon to add an orange die. But the hero will use their upgraded helmet ability and add a blue die for the entire battle. Additionally, this hero has an elixir in their backpack, which they may drink before the battle and add 1 orange die to all 3 clashes. The elixir needs to be used before a battle, and the token is then discarded into the bag. It's a one-time effect. This is not considered an action. The player rolls their dice for their first clash. After their roll, they use their shield ability that allows them to re-roll 1 green die once during a battle. They will try to get an attack or defense symbol on their green die. But as you see, this fails. They can't re-roll this die again during this battle. The player controlling the monster also rolls their dice, and we begin comparing their results in order to resolve the first clash of this battle. Here are the monster results. 1 hero attack gets ignored by the monster's defense, while the monster's attack symbol is negated by the shield symbol on the hero die. So currently the hero only deals 1 wound to the enemy, which they mark with a damage marker, and we move to the second clash of this battle. Now the player on the left of the attacking player rolls the enemy dice. At the same time, the hero rolls their dice, and you compare the rolled results. 2 attacks from the monster are ignored because of the 2 shield symbols from the hero, so they don't take any wounds. Meanwhile, 2 hero attacks allow them to deal 2 wounds to the monster. As always, we mark this with damage markers that are placed on the enemy token. The monster has not been defeated, so we move on to the third and final clash of this battle. The player controlling the monster rolls the dice for the 3rd time, and the hero does the same. If the hero manages to deal 1 wound to the monster, it will be defeated. Even though the hero does get an attack symbol, after comparing it to the results of the enemy dice, it turns out that the monster ignores the attack with a defense symbol and doesn't get any wounds. This battle action is over. This monster has not been defeated and the player doesn't get a reward. The damage markers remain on the monster token, indicating its current damage level. The same player may try to defeat this monster with a second battle action. Another player may do that as well if they decide to take a battle action on this monster. If they manage to defeat it, then they will receive the reward. Another action that the player may perform during their turn is a rest action. The hero regains 2 toughness markers and places them back on their board. What happens if a hero loses all of their toughness markers? They get stunned. Their pawn returns to the starting castle tile. The hero loses all collected coins and returns them from their backpack to the supply. They also have to return 1 of their equipment tokens back to the bag. The players may also perform a tile action. They may do something different on each tile. Now, discover them all. Let's start with the marketplace. When a player enters this tile, they may perform a tile action to buy equipment by spending 3 coins. Then they reach into the bag and draw an equipment token, then place it on the hero or in their backpack, showing its brown basic side. On the marketplace, they may also sell some of their equipment. They return it to the bag and receive 2 coins. You may perform 2 transactions during 1 tile action at the marketplace. At the Wishing Lake tile, a player may spend 1 coin to try their luck and roll 2 green dice. You may re-roll the dice 1 time. Depending on the result, the player receives certain bonuses. In my case, with 2 shields, I am allowed to upgrade an equipment. You already know how to do it. If a player finds themselves on a wilderness or abandoned village tile that has a coin symbol on one of the edges, and there is no monster here, they may perform the tile action and receive 2 coins that they will put in their backpack. While on a stone circle tile, a player may ask a druid to make a moon seal. By paying 3 coins, they buy a Moon Seal token as a tile action. As you know, there are 3 tokens like that in the game. Next, the player places such a seal on an empty monster lair symbol. Size doesn't matter here. This way you block monsters from entering the map, which happens every other round. I will describe that in a second. The quarry tile is a place where, for 3 coins, dwarves will build a fragment of a wall for you. By paying the required cost, you may take one of the 3 wall markers and place it on a free wall space on the starting castle tile. In the Elven camp, by paying 3, 5 or 7 coins, you can build traps. The more you pay, the better the trap. Take the trap from the token supply and place it on one of the revealed map tiles, on the way between the crater and the castle. The trap only works on the beast, who will appear on the crater and move towards the castle by the shortest path. You'll see how the trap works a little later. The player on the Alchemist Workshop tile will be able to spend 3 coins to upgrade their equipment. The player pays for the action by spending the coins in their backpack, and then they are allowed to flip one of their equipment tokens, unlocking the bonuses on the upgraded side. Together with the Adventurer's Toolkit expansion came a new Dwarven Workshop tile, where for 3, 4 or 5 coins a player may buy a ballista in a corresponding colour: blue, green or orange. After paying the cost, take the matching ballista and place it on a chosen tile. From now on, at the beginning of each round, the player who bought the ballista may perform a single shot on a monster or the beast that is on the tile with the ballista or on an adjacent tile. The players choose the target together. Then the player that bought the ballista rolls 1 die in the colour of the ballista. In my case, it's a blue die. If they roll an attack symbol, they deal 1 wound to the enemy. Activating a ballista is not an action and is resolved before players' turns. When there is a flea market tile in the game from the Adventurer's Toolkit expansion, immediately after revealing the tile, place 3 random equipment tokens from the bag on the tile, placing them basic side up. The player that performs this tile action may exchange one of their equipment tokens with one that is on this tile. Additionally, the Adventurer's Toolkit expansion introduces 3 big monster tokens that, as a reward for defeating them, offer 3 different animal companions: an eagle, fox, and a bear. When a player defeats one of those monsters, as a reward they take the matching animal companion token that will join them for some time. So if your hero defeated this mysterious creature, a bear would join them. It's worth mentioning that all 3 monsters deal 1 wound to the hero before the battle. This cannot be prevented. Returning to the animal companions, there are rewards for defeating one of the 3 daughters. Place the companion's token next to the board, face up, with the side showing a black arrow. You may use the effect of this token 2 times during the whole game, once on each side of the token. In case of the bear, the player receives 2 defense symbols that they may add to their dice roll during a battle. After using this side of the companion, flip it. Then the player has the slightly weaker effect of their companion available, which they may use at any time. If they use this bonus, in the case of the bear, it's 1 defense symbol. The token of the animal companion is returned to the box. The eagle's special ability allows the player that got it to move to any tile on the map. The flip side's ability allows the hero to move 1 additional space. The fox is a companion that adds 2 attack symbols to the hero's dice roll result. The flip side's ability adds 1 attack symbol. During the game, pay attention to the capacity of your backpack. If a player gets rewarded more equipment or gold that they are able to fit in their backpack, they must give up something and discard the excess. The tokens in the backpack can't be stacked but must be placed next to each other. They are also not allowed to stick out of the backpack. All of them need to fit into the outline. So, for example, if my hero wants to keep the elixir, they would have to discard 2 coins to make space in the backpack. When all players are done with their turns, the round ends and the player with the Avel coat of arms moves the astrolabe marker on the next space on the moon track. 2 symbols appear interchangeably on the track. The heart symbol allows heroes to heal 1 wound, thereby regaining 1 toughness marker. In the astrolabe marker moves to a space with a lair symbol, you refill all empty lair spaces on the revealed board tiles with new monsters. You take their tokens from the correct piles by paying attention to their sizes. When the astrolabe symbol passes the moon seal symbol, it means that players may no longer buy more seals to block monster lairs. After the marker passes the trap symbol, it will be impossible to set up traps for the beasts, and when it passes the wall symbol, it will mean no more walls may be built on the castle tile. When the astrolabe symbol reaches the last space with the beast symbol, the black moon rises and the beast emerges from the crater. Now players reveal all previously unturned map tiles. If there are any lair symbols on those tiles, take and place the corresponding monsters and randomly place them on the tiles with lair symbols. Then you reveal the crater token chosen at the beginning of the game, and depending on the number of players, you take the proper monster tokens. In this example of a 4-player game, the easy level crater token that I chose tells me to add 2 small monster tokens. Now take 1 black die and roll it for each of the just added monsters to see where to place it. The rolled result will indicate the proper tile. In my case, the first monster appears on the stone circles. Note that those monsters always go to tiles without lair symbols. I roll for the second monster and I am instructed to put it on the alchemist workshop. After placing monsters, put the crater token back in the box and place the beast figure on the tile. The players continue their turns like previously, but without moving the astrolabe marker in the new round. From now on, the beast will move towards the castle, and so will all the monsters on the board. If any of them breaks into the castle tile, the heroes lose the game. In each new round, first move all small monsters 1 space towards the castle, then do the same to the big monsters, and lastly move the beast 1 space. If the beast enters a tile where you previously placed a trap token, then you take the dice set indicated by the token, in my case it's 2 green and 1 orange die, and roll them. If you manage to roll attack symbols, you subtract the amount of toughness from the beast and mark it on its toughness dial. In my example, the 3 sword symbols lower its toughness level from 20 to 17. After resolving the trap token, place it back in the box. Now it's time to learn how to fight the beast. The players attack it in the same way as the small and big monsters. In 1 battle action, they may perform up to 3 clashes and use all of their abilities and bonuses of their equipment or elixirs in order to deal as much damage as possible. The beast, on the other hand, always rolls all of the monster dice, 2 black and 3 purple. If as a result of the hero's attacks you manage to wound the beast, always mark it by lowering its toughness value on the beast's toughness dial. The goal of the players is to lower its toughness level to 0. In order to win, the players must defeat all the monsters on the map together with the beast before any reach the Avel castle. If any monster would, as a result of their movement, enter their castle tile, and there is a wall marker on the tile, that monster destroys the wall. Remove one wall marker and put it back in the box. However, the monster stays on the tile and does not enter the castle. In this case, the placement of the wall doesn't make any difference, just the number of walls. If the beast would enter the castle and there are wall markers on the tile, the beast destroys them all, but doesn't move from its tile. If the beast would enter the castle on the next round, the heroes lose. However, if they manage to defeat the beast and all the other monsters present on the map, they win the game. A game in solo variant plays according to the normal rules that we just talked about. On their turn, a hero performs 4 actions, which they mark with 4 action tokens. You see their active side. After performing an action, flip the token to its inactive side and therefore mark each of the available 4 actions this way. After performing all actions at the end of the round, flip all of the action tokens back to their active side, thus preparing them to be used in a new round. In this variant, the beast has 14 points of toughness.